everyone to Leading Through with Billy Ireland. I am your host, and I'm excited today for this episode. First of all, what I want you to do is stop and rate, review, and share this content. This would mean the world to me to get it out to anyone that can hear this content. I believe that anyone that will hear it, it would add value to their life. Today, it's a very, very special episode. I have the privilege and honor to introduce our guest, Jessica Henderson.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here.
Yeah.
We're talking all things leadership. So
Yeah.
if you don't mind, if you give everyone an introduction briefly of who you are.
Yeah, so my name is Jessica. I'm originally from San Antonio, Texas. I have a teenage daughter, and I currently live in Dallas, Texas, here with my daughter. And yeah, that's pretty much sums up who I am. I mean, it's nothing.
So do you change from a Spurs fan to a Mavericks fan when you move to Dallas?
No, I am definitely still a Spurs fan.
Okay, well, God bless you. God bless you. Hopefully you get delivered from that one day.
Right.
Yeah, so I wanted you to come on because, just to be honest, Jessica Henderson works alongside of us, and one of the best leaders that I work alongside of right now. And so what I would want to do is I want people to really tap into your thoughts towards leadership, creativity. And first of all, let's tackle the big topic, leading as a woman. How does that work for you in predominantly male-driven society where men typically are up front leading? How do you deal with, adjust, and how do you lead others as a woman?
Well, I will say when I started leading, I think I've been in a leadership role for about 7 years that I can think of. I've always been, I think, a leader, but as far as leading people, it's been about 7 years. I started off in corporate America. It was very intimidating. I'm not gonna lie. It was a lot of odds against me. Being a woman. And also being assertive, naturally, and I think that when I first had to start leading, it was one of those things where it was very hard for me to make a decision because I was always thinking about what would the man say, a man say that was basically, the CEO or people over the company, because it was dominated by men. And then I remember while I was transitioning into a leadership position, my boss was actually a woman, and she carried herself with authority, but she also understood that because it was a male-dominant business, that it was very important that you pick and choose your battles,
Wow.
And so that was one of the things that I had to learn early on, just when do you voice what you feel like you need to voice, when do you assert yourself, when do you help people to understand, what position they're in. It was just so many things that I had to learn early on very quickly. I mean, the transition was so fast, Billy. I mean, it was like from one day to the next, I was in a leadership role,
Wow.
And so it over time, I think a year into it, I began to realize, okay, I got this. I got this. I'm able to do this. And so I think the main thing was just being secure in who I was,
Wow.
I think that was the main thing, because if you're secure in who you are, people honor that.
Yeah.
Male or female.
True. True.
And so I think that was the thing that really helped me, building up my security, knowing that, I was placed in that position for a reason, and not necessarily being intimidated, but learning from those experiences.
Well, what I hear is so much. I really hope people are taking notes here, because what I'm hearing is a few things. One, you were concerned when you said you were concerned about your boss, male, dominant driven business and workforce, but you were concerned, and that's something that great leaders all have. They have a healthy concern for, the outcome.
Yeah.
Whether it's not necessarily the concern. What I'm hearing you say is not necessarily concerned about whether I get in trouble or not, but is the outcome going to be?
Yeah.
And then two, just having it modeled for you.
Yeah.
Having another female and watching them pick and choose their battles is so good. And so now, fast forward, I'm going to just go ahead and give a little spoiler alert. You work for a church now.
I do.
Right? And so, church world, nonprofit, the metrics are different as far as like what is a success, how we measure a win. I say we because I'm a pastor. I work for a church as well. So measuring a win is different. So fast forward 7 years later, how is the leadership for you now as, and I'm highlighting a woman because as a woman, leading as a woman, because sometimes people just don't take that well.
Yeah.
I wish that we were past that. And
Yeah.
I wish that we were past, whether someone's male, female, black, or Hispanic, white. I wish we were. In a perfect world, obviously we would be.
Yeah.
But we're not. So how did that transition take place of you going from corporate to like basically nonprofit?
Yeah, so I think what happened is in that area, I really learned how to lead, right? Because in corporate, you lead with authority.
Okay.
And in the church, you lead by teaching, and by leading people through situations, hence, the podcast. But I think it was one of those things where when I was in corporate, I used my authority to get what I needed done. Now, leading in the church, I literally have to be compassionate. It takes longer, you know what I mean? You have to, it's like, step by step by step, And I think now that leading in the church has really helped me learn how to actually deal with people, and because the authority title, you don't get anything done, right? You can use all the weight you have, and it completely makes people shut down. Which I've noticed since I worked in the church. That's actually what was happening to me in corporate. I'm throwing my weight around as opposed to teaching people and being compassionate towards people, and understanding people and really leading them through whatever the task was or assignment before them. So I think in the church, leading has been, it was a struggle at first. It was different. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand the need to meet the need of people at that moment. That was something that was taught to me, and I think that it's been healthy because it's actually worked on me.
Wow.
As a woman, because like I said, leading in the church is actually developing people.
Sure.
And getting them to their gifts, as opposed to when you're in corporate, these people have degrees. And so they know what they're going to do. And people in the church has degrees too. We have them too. But I'm just saying it's such a complete difference. And I'm learning as I go along, and as I've been in this field, that leading it comes in many different forms in the church. You know what I mean? And so that's the task that I've been not so much challenged with, but have had the opportunity to learn.
Yeah, I get that, because in the church, character is more important than your competency.
Yeah.
Because say if someone's a pastor and they cheat on their wife, well, they're going to most likely get set down, or they should get set down. They're going to actually go on a sabbatical or get fired. Well, a CEO of an organization, they could cheat on their wife and they could still keep their job, as long as their competency, as long as it doesn't affect their competency, meaning their skills and their ability to actually lead.
Right.
So it is a big jump. But what are some things that actually transfer? They're on both sides. Like you could use this in corporate and you could also use this in the church. What is it that you learned that they're transferable principles?
I think what people don't realize is there's a lot of work in the church. You know what I mean? Like behind the scenes, people come on Sunday and everything is going on, but we're churching, but it's so much that you have to prepare for during the week, not including every other tribe, which is small groups, every other thing that we have going on in the church. So I think that's something that I wasn't expecting, but it is very transferable. Like, I literally am, preparing for Sunday, and when we prepare for Sunday and we're getting ready for that day, it's a lot of work behind the scenes, whether it's shooting out emails, it's paying bills, it's going to run errands for the church, it's getting groups together, everything, you know what I mean? And I think sometimes people minimize that. That it's not work, admin work, that it's not, stuff that you have to do to keep this thing going, And so I think that's some of the transferable skills that I was able to bring together, because my work ethic, it's not just sitting in here on a Sunday lifting our hands. It's so much from, Sunday to Saturday that you're doing, know. And so we wear many hats, but that's a healthy thing. You do that in corporate, you know what I mean? And I think that that's one of the things that I wasn't prepared for, if anything, you know what I mean, is the actual work, like feet to ground, or, work that you have to do to prepare for that day. You when you get in and you like, oh my God, this is all, you got to do all, you know what I mean? Because you just come on a Sunday and you see everything, but it's like, nah, it's a lot of stuff you got to do during the week, you know what I mean?
Well, I'm glad you're making that clear for everyone that just pops up on Sundays. Church is actually working. We're not doing nothing. We're not just sitting on our hands. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
So, what is a leadership principle or something that you hang on to that helps you throughout your day, throughout your life, week in and week out, something that you rely on, that you would like to share with the people, so maybe it could help them as well?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I have learned here recently in leading from my leaders, and also the people around me, is being consistent. Being consistent and being reliable. I know those are small words and small things to people, but it's so important, because when consistency leads to results.
Come on.
You know what I mean? And when you start seeing results, then you know that you're actually growing. You know what I mean?
So good.
And so I think that although it's small and to some people, because some people have routines, it's different from having a routine and being consistent at something. You know what I mean?
Lean in there.
I like routine, like we know. Parenting, you're gonna take your kids to school, you're gonna do, you gotta go to work, you gotta cook, but when you're consistent at something and it drives you, when you're consistent at making sure that the job is being completed, meeting challenges and deadlines, that's a big thing in the church. People don't realize, meeting deadlines. Being consistent at that, you begin to see results. Being consistent at reaching out to people, being consistent at just your job and your role in the church, you begin to see results.
That's so good.
And that's what we're here for. I mean, I don't care if you're leading in corporate, I don't care where you're leading at, a small business. If you're consistent at doing that, you begin to see results. And not being afraid to if you fail. Let's just be real. Sometimes the project, you might fail at it, but you still get back up and you push forward. You continue to go forward in that. And so I think that that's one of the things that I've learned, in it being here. Honestly, because I had no consistency in my life.
Wow.
I was a routine person. I knew I had to work. I knew I had to, take care of my daughter. I knew it was certain things that I had to do, but as far as being consistent, it wasn't something that I really did,
Yeah, that's so good. And it sounds like the difference between routine, the way you're defining it, and consistency is really the routine can be hollow, and the consistency can have some substance behind it.
Right.
Like I got a heart behind it.
Right.
Routine can be just going through the motions.
Yeah.
Consistency is like, okay, because you're saying it's leading to results.
Yeah.
That's a heavy principle in leadership to
Yeah.
really embrace. And what is one of the things that people think leadership is about that you've learned that leadership is not? Like what is one of the big things everyone says? Oh, leadership, because leadership is a buzzword now.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking to you because I believe you're a leader.
Yeah.
And I believe that you lead well, and have untapped potential, right?
Yeah.
That you haven't even reached. But what is one of the things about leadership that you would say? It's not that. Like, people think it's this, but it's something totally different. And you may have kind of touched it a little bit with some of your answers, but if you can lean in there a little bit.
Yeah, I think to answer that question, I think sometimes the big word is when you become a leader, you have arrived.
Oh, wow.
Right? And
that's good.
Leave that to the people that's under you, or your employees or whomever, and it's less work. I think that's a real misconception, because honestly, when you're leading, you're in the mix. That's the only way that that you're being productive, actually. You know what I mean? I think it's times that you do push back and you vacation and stuff like that. But when you're a leader, you're there with the people, you're there, not necessarily doing the job, you're equipping people and empowering people to do the job, but you're present. You're present. And that's actually one thing, because obviously, you've already said that you lead as I'm under you, basically, and I think that's one of the things that I learned from you, and that you have to be present. At first, if I'm just being real, it bothered me a little bit, because I'm like, okay, you want the job done, and then if it was a change, it would upset me, because I was like, hold on, wait, this is not what we discussed. But I now realize, that's what leaders do. They can forward see things not going the way that we already planned, so they have to make changes.
Situational leadership.
Situational leadership, you know what I mean? And so I think that's one of the things that really I've seen. You have to be in it, and I see that my leaders are in it, so it really encourages me to want to be a part of it. The other day I was talking to this young lady, and she said, I asked her how her job was going, and she said, well, my manager, she doesn't really do much, and it makes me seem like, am I supposed to be like that? And then I started thinking I have a total opposite view of things, because I'm like, my leader, is always in the mix, and it makes you want to do it. I think it encourages people, right? When they see you in it, And so I think that's one of the things that has really helped me, is actually being in it, not pushing back from it, not if it is passed on, making sure that it's done correctly.
Oh, that's so good.
You know what I mean?
That's so good. What I hear you saying is that, one of the principles that you've grabbed is that when you're in it, you can, in that moment, make shifts as needed. Because if you leave it alone, whatever you're leading, and it goes on autopilot, then things change.
Yeah.
And as you get more metrics, you get more information, you may thought that system was going to get it there, but you have to tweak it a little bit now, or tweak whatever decision it was. And so that's what I hear you saying. So, okay, well, as a leader, you always have aspirations and things you want to do in the future, and you're looking ahead for your life and, your kiddo, your daughter. And so what is one of the things that you are looking forward to as a leader in the future? What's on your heart to do, and some I would say some exciting things ahead for you?
Yeah, I really want to empower women. I want to bring out leadership qualities in women, and I want to have a strong group of women who know how to lead, and not in a way of, because it's always like the misconception of like independence, like an independent woman, and it's like, yeah, we want to be independent, but at the same time, we want to lead well, because it's different, when you are that woman that you're a leader, and you use your power, and it leaves a sour taste in people's mouth,
Mm-hmm.
But it's a difference that I've learned through the women leadership here, is that you can lead, and you can lead humbly, and you can lead in power, and you can lead gracefully. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that I aspire. I think that that's the thing that has really been heavy on my heart, is to empower women, whether it's in a women's group, whether it's just doing life with women, to lead well, to lead healthy, to lead with confidence, you know what I mean? To lead respectfully. Because that's a whole nother thing too, and so I think that's the thing. Also, just continue the work that God is doing in my life and the calling that He has on my life. I do feel like right now I'm on assignment, but I do feel like God has something bigger for me, and hopefully I know that I'm taking those steps, what I mean?
Yeah, and I like how you said assignment, and when we talk about here in our camp, in our group, we always talk about there's a difference between assignment and your calling.
Yeah.
And so we believe that God gives you many assignments.
Yeah.
And you're doing it, and you do it unto the Lord, and you do it with all your heart, and you do it as if it was ultimately the very thing that God was finally asking you to do.
Yeah.
But we know that there's assignments, but then there's an ultimate calling.
Yeah.
That God has designed for you to walk in, step in, stand in, and that's probably until Jesus comes back.
Right.
But you have many assignments. So right now, what I'm hearing you say, Jessica, is you're on assignment. This is not the entire mission that God has for you.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of you. First of all, I don't know if I've told you, I'm sure I have, but I'm just telling you I'm proud of you. And I know that leadership is something that's in your DNA.
Yeah.
All the way from, your father, was a great man of God, and your mother, that helped out tens of thousands of people, that helped you recover from drug addiction and alcoholism and prostitution. I mean, this woman comes from great stock. And so what I want to do is thank you for coming and joining us.
Yes.
And I think that there's so much more ahead. And you know what, if you want to, if somebody wants to get in contact with you, like, or someone wanted to follow you on Instagram, whatever, or, could you give them your information as we close out?
Yeah, so honestly, I'm going to be honest, we're going to have to put it in the in the section below, because I really don't know my handle like that.
Okay. All right.
But if I'll definitely have it for you later.
Okay, we'll put it in the comment section.
Yeah.
We'll put it on the screen. That's a new one.
Yeah, I don't know my handle.
So she don't remember that.
I don't remember my handles. I really don't.
Well, hold on. Now Jessica's single, so that was that was a tough time. That would have been a good plug, man. But she might be trying to take herself off the market for y'all. But anyway, well, thank you so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure to talk to other leaders. It's my honor to host this show, Leading Through, and we had another phenomenal episode. And once again, I want to tell you to share, rate, review, comment, and let as many people to get in contact with this information and follow us and subscribe to us. God bless.